that you're able to kind of it's essentially giving you information on what their retaliation methods are and what you can really capitalize on while still putting them in a mix-up. So it's really useful for that, if you ask me. But otherwise, yeah, it's kind of your run-of-the-mill jump CD. It's also, I would say, it's quite decent as well, just for like air-to-airs, just to score a knockdown. It's just, I would especially use it if you're like approaching the corner and they're trying to like escape via the air or something. You can clip them counter hit and you can get a lot of fucking damage, which again I will go over in a little while. Alright, I suppose it is reasonable to kind of talk about his special moves now. I suppose the biggest one to really kind of raise awareness of is his command grab, and in this game, his command grab is really interesting. It doesn't really hold the properties that other grabs do in this game. So, alright, so his A command grab, it comes out in frame 1. It does 160 points damage, which is pretty good. What's good, Celine? Nice to see you in the chat, man. How are we doing? But yeah, where was I? Shit. Yeah, comes out frame 1. This also acts as his reversal. There's a nice chunk of damage, and you can keep doing this over and over again, just to kind of lock them down. I will get into the main setup later, but A command grab, really kind of the main one you want to take into because of its startup and just the and just the fact that it exists causes hesitation. But you have to keep in mind that you need to implement his command grab to even cause a hesitation to begin with, because if you're really just kind of strictly doing normals, then I mean, you do have the overhead, but I mean, really just want to kind of enforce the grab on him, because essentially one frame unblockable, that the only means of escape is by jumping. They can't roll, they can't, of course they can't block, they can't hesitate or remove, especially when we're talking about C grab, which I will get into right now actually. C grab, really interesting to me. You mainly want to use this in tandem with his meaties, because one thing this does, which I will actually try and demonstrate now, is that it can essentially act as a reversal, like a way to bait out reversals, essentially, because you can just basically do C grab and you're gonna eat the DP with the auto guard, right? They're gonna end up landing right down and they're thinking, oh shit, I'm gonna get punished hard, and that's exactly what's going on. It acts as a really sick option coverage tool that can really Again, the key here is forced hesitation and just how consistent like Dinosaur can force pressure on the opponent. Like, this character is really fucking scary, man. But yeah, again, I will try and demonstrate that now if I can. Show you exactly what I mean here. I mean, again, you can do this as of literally like anything as well. That's the thing. That's what makes this vortex so powerful. Like, how many opportunities you can like that this character provides to kind of get this vortex going. You know, I think it's just better to do this from a grab. Fuck it. Okay, one sec. All right, that should do it. Oh, fucking hold on. Alright. Let's try this again. Fucking pad. Alright, 1 second. It's a little hard to kind of do this with a pad. So just bear in mind, just bear me a moment. Like that, and they can punish. You can punish them on the way down. That's the thing. You can do taps. You can do a command grab. This is really kind of character specific though. Like, certain characters can break out of this for free. So, for instance, from what I know, K-Dash because his DP goes full screen. Rio because his ADP acts as his main reversal against Dinosaurs. Vortex, which is kind of why you have to be cautious against characters like Rio. But I suppose I'll get into that another time. So really this is kind of like a character-specific thing, and I'll leave you to experiment in your own time, but basically the general gist is, if the character has a reversal, they're pretty fucked, because they have to think twice about even once to escape his pressure. And of course this does cover rolls, so I will demonstrate that just as a proof of concept. They can't roll. They literally have to just jump, and if they jump, then they're getting clipped by a big maximum damage combo. That's another thing. This character, just for a bar, does a lot of damage. He gets an unreasonable high amount just for a bar, which is about, At best, I would say around, without a jump, it's like 420 something points damage, which is really good. And again, considering the corner carry it provides, that's ridiculous. But yeah, again, mainly just in conjunction with your vortex, because it's what kind of makes the compound. Oh, excuse me. That and 2B is kind of the compound foundation of what makes Dinosaurs Vortex so scary. Let me set the controls here, actually, now that I think about it, just to... Alright, excellent. Okay, splendid. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, Ankylo Hammer, which is done by 236 A or C, and A plus B to get the cancel. You preferably want to be using the cancel a lot with this character, especially from the likes of 5B. This is kind of more, like, the light one is more of a harassment tool to complement 5B when you're just kind of wanting to suss them out, cause hesitation, etc, etc. This is kind of the main poke to go to, and it's really fucking abusable too, especially when they're you've got them kind of locked and loaded, you've conditioned them into not jumping, and yeah, just essentially it's just a tool to cause hesitation. And you're still, the best thing about it is that you're left at a range where you can still tap with 5B, and they're left at a range, like your opponent is left at a range where effectively they can't press anything, otherwise they're getting clipped with 5B, and of course, as we all know, that converts from full range. So you're pretty much, again, you're forcing all this pressure, not because it's plus, but the fact that you're causing a lot of fear in the opponent, and really that's kind of the key here with this character as well. I've been saying that a lot, but it's true. You really need to hold your ground here with this character and just cause a lot of just cause a lot of fear in the opponent, just to kind of get them hesitating. Really, otherwise, however, is the fact that you can't convert into anything with the full extension. So really, if you're going meatless with Dinosaur, and as I pointed out, you really wouldn't want to be doing that. Your best confirms is, at least mid-screen, is you're just doing this, and you're getting 80 points damage, just nothing. All you're really doing is just harassing them with pokes and getting no damage out of it, so what's the point, basically, is what I'm saying. There's no real point to favor the full extension anyway, because, I mean, it really depends on spacing in the corner, if it's nearby for Dinosaur and it's accessible, but really, if you're using this on block, then you're essentially sacrificing a mix-up. While safe, you're essentially sacrificing a mix-up that puts Dinosaur at a disadvantage and does nothing, essentially. So there's no point to using the full extension, and it has a tendency to whiff. Like, look at the range I'm trying to convert as well from Dinosaur. Whiff. I can get punished easily for that, and this works from the corner, this works from pretty much any range. So again, if you're going to be using this meatless, you're pretty much just going to be rocking with the AB cancel just to kind of remain safe and still stay a maintainable range to hold your ground. Also, one other thing to point out as well, going into Ankylo Hammer, is this is the main way to get into his dinner time super, which again leads into a vortex, which I will go into later. But yeah, again, mainly it's just like a confirm tool, just to check for spacing, poking, etc, etc. Standard stuff, really. Okay. So the heavy one, totally worthless. Don't use it outside of combos, that is. And one interesting thing to know, at least during the, like if you're using this as a combo extension in some way, is that it causes a hard knockdown. Like, there's no way to take that, and you get a meaty 2B to really kind of establish your pressure. So really, that's just the only thing I really point out with C Ankylo Hammer. There's no point to outside of combos. You can cancel the hard knockdown into a soft knockdown so they can tech roll to act as a safe jump. But really, again, outside of combos, just what's the point? Like, you really want to be using the A Ankylo Hammer a lot more and just abusing the shiz out of it when you can. Just a really solid poke tool overall, and that kind of makes the foundation for it. Okay, what other moves does this guy have, just to make sure? Oh man, Assault Raptor. What a shitty move. Alright, let me get into Assault Raptor really quickly. Totally worthless. It is a command grab, however, but I mean, the biggest problem with it is that just look at the how far it pushes them back. And that's not even taking into account making tech roll, so it puts you full screen, does no damage, and the worst part is that they can crouch this throw, so let me just record it as a proof of concept just to show you guys. Fuck. Alright. You can duck right under it, so what's the point? There's absolutely no point in this move whatsoever, but as far as like, well, with a Assault Raptor in mind, one thing that does kind of shed light on is that Dinosaur doesn't really have many reliable ways to get past projectiles. It's more so using your own initiative as a player to kind of find the gaping holes in like their game plan against a projectile character. And he doesn't really need to be patient anyway, and especially in this game, because if you're kind of absorbing all the fireballs, then that's fine, because in this game in particular, you build meter more so than your opponent just by guarding their fireballs and them actually throwing them out, you know? So if anything, you're getting advantage from playing patiently and just taking that chip damage. And as I established earlier, Dinosaur is very content on having meter, and he's very, he's pretty much fine with spending it whenever he needs to, so. Okay. Alright, yeah. I suppose one thing I should point out with Assault Raptor is, hold on a sec. I guess it makes kind of good point, actually, Craze. Let me check that. It's I'd reckon it's unlikely, to be honest with you, but it's just worth checking out. Nah, nothing. Worthless garbage. I'm telling you, garbage. Don't use it. One thing to address though with this move is that his EX1 cannot be ducked. His projectile invincible and goes and pretty much tracks the opponent. So you can be anywhere on screen and you're pretty much clipping them, but again, the big problem is that it leaves you with no Oki, and you can't actually get anything because you're at too much of a disadvantage in terms of recovery once you land the move. So, I mean, it's something to keep in mind. Like if it's clutch and you're playing as a fireball character and you've got a bar to spend, like it's not bad to go into max mode just to kind of show the fact that you're prepared for the fireball, that you're willing to punish them for it. So in those kind of scenarios, it's pretty good, but I mean, nothing I would use liberally at all. You can tick throw into it though, just for the record, but again, it's more of a gimmick if anything. Just a gimmick, and Dinosaur can get around so much better with his solid vortex game, so it just makes these kinds of tick throws obsolete, if you ask me. Not something I would use if especially since I'm the one making the tutorial. It's not something I would recommend you do ever. Let me see. Okay, Giga Compy. This really, again, one of the moves I'm not going to be using liberally, and there's not a whole lot to talk about other than the fact that it OTGs. Actually, that's a bad example. Let me show you real quick. That's kind of really its only use, but again, one big problem and one thing I see a lot of Dinosaur players do is that they'll be in the corner, right? They'll maybe confirm it to dinner time or something, and they'll always favor his OTG grab. I mean, sure. I mean, a few damage, fair enough. It's fair play. But look at the position you're left in. No, okay, you're left full screen. You gave up the corner. So essentially, you're just doing yourself a really bad favor, and you're just letting the opponent out for free. With like, see, it's kind of the mindset I'm trying to take with this on board. Is that you're essentially risking further guaranteed damage if you were to not throw them out the corner. So again, kind of worthless. It does have its uses outside of this though. So let me show you. Especially if you were to be in the corner. This is where it gets really sick, because you can use the EX1, throw them back in the corner, and that's where your Oki resets. So essentially, if you're anywhere outside of this situation, then just using his OTG grab, worthless. Don't ever use it. The extra points aren't worth it. unless you're certain it's going to kill, like 100% certain. And not to mention, his swipes pretty much make this move completely irrelevant when you're using combos, because it causes a hard knockdown and still maintains